You probably have a whole rack of spices in your kitchen, right? Cinnamon, pepper, cloves. You sprinkle them without a second thought. But what if I told you that in ancient times, that tiny pinch of cinnamon could be worth a king's ransom? That spices sparked wars, fueled empires, and sent explorers on incredibly dangerous journeys. Get ready, because the true cost of ancient spices will blow your mind. So, why were these humble plant parts so incredibly valuable? It wasn't just about making bland food taste better. Spices had multiple superpowers that made them essential for ancient life. First, food preservation. Before refrigeration, spices like pepper and cloves helped mask the taste of slightly spoiled meat or even slow down spoilage. This was a lifesaver. Second, medicine. Many spices were believed to have incredible healing powers. Ancient doctors used them to treat everything from headaches to stomach problems. Third, status symbol. If you could afford exotic spices, you were rich. Serving spicy food at a banquet showed off your wealth and power. Finally, perfumery and rituals. Spices were used in perfumes, cosmetics, and as incense for religious ceremonies and embalming the dead. These diverse uses made spices an absolute necessity, not just a luxury. And that necessity made them worth fighting, exploring, and even dying for. Here's where the story gets really wild. The ancient world had no idea where many spices actually came from, and the people who traded them wanted to keep it that way. So they invented insane stories. For centuries, nobody in the Roman Empire or Europe knew where cinnamon truly originated. Arab traders who controlled the supply spread outrageous tales. They claimed giant birds built their nests out of cinnamon sticks on remote, unreachable cliffs, or that fierce dragons guarded the spice fields. These stories weren't just for fun. They were clever business tactics. They kept rivals away, justified the incredible prices, and added an air of dangerous mystique to the spices. The further away and more dangerous the origin, the higher the price tag. Let's talk about the absolute king of ancient spices, black pepper. You use it every day, but in ancient times, it was as valuable as gold. Pepper originated in India, thousands of miles away from Rome. It was so highly prized that it was often used as currency. Imagine paying your taxes or buying a house with peppercorns. When the Visigoths, led by King Alaric, sacked Rome in 410 AD, part of their ransom demand included 3,000 pounds of pepper, alongside gold and silver. That's how much it was worth. Its sharp, distinct flavor and preserving qualities made it indispensable, and its distant origin made it incredibly precious. Beyond pepper, other aromatic spices sparked equally daring adventures and fetched staggering prices. Think cinnamon and cloves. Cinnamon came primarily from Sri Lanka and parts of Southeast Asia. Cloves came from the tiny, remote spice islands. These were truly at the ends of the known ancient world. Getting these spices involved incredibly long, dangerous journeys across vast oceans, facing treacherous storms, ruthless pirates, and hostile coastlines. Each step of the journey, from harvesting to arriving in a Roman market, added to the cost, creating a chain of middlemen who each took their cut. Not all ancient spices were for eating. Two of the most valuable were fragrant resins, used for incense, medicine, and perfume, frankincense and myrrh. These precious resins came from trees that only grew in specific, harsh desert regions of the Arabian Peninsula and the Horn of Africa. Harvesting them was tough, dangerous work. The incense road was one of the most ancient and important trade routes, carrying these aromatic treasures across scorching deserts for thousands of miles. They were used in religious ceremonies as perfume and were vital for ancient Egyptian embalming rituals. Their spiritual and practical value made them incredibly expensive, worth more than gold in many ancient societies. These aren't your calm modern shipping lanes. The ancient spice routes, both by land and sea, were incredibly hazardous. They were roads of immense riches, but also incredible ruin. By land, caravans had to cross vast deserts and treacherous mountain passes, constantly at risk from bandits. By sea, Voyages relied on unpredictable monsoon winds, facing fierce storms and ruthless pirates who knew exactly what valuable cargo these ships carried. Every mile was a gamble. Only a fraction of the original cargo might make it to its final destination, pushing prices even higher. These dangers weren't just stories. They were real threats that made the journey of every single spice kernel a heroic epic. With so much risk and so much value, who got rich from this ancient spice trade? It was all about control and the power of the middlemen. The original growers and harvesters often saw very little of the final profit. Instead, it was the traders who controlled the routes, Arab merchants for centuries, then later Roman and eventually European powers. They held the secrets of origin and the keys to transport. Empires also grew incredibly rich by taxing the spice trade. They would control ports, levy customs duties, and protect the routes, ensuring a steady flow of wealth into their treasuries. The control of spices was a form of economic and political power. The insane value of spices directly led to one of the most famous periods in human history, the Age of Exploration. European powers were desperate to cut out the middlemen and find their own direct routes to the spice sources. Imagine the determination. Columbus sailed west, convinced he could reach the Spice Islands by a new route. Vasco da Gama sailed around Africa, braving uncharted waters precisely to reach India and its pepper fields. These epic journeys, driven by the lure of spices, fundamentally changed the map of the world and led to global empires. It wasn't just about discovery. It was about massive profits from a handful of valuable plant products. So, the next time you sprinkle some black pepper on your food, remember its incredible, dangerous, and world-changing history. From being worth more than gold to sparking global exploration, spices were truly the hidden engines of ancient power and wealth. They taught us that even the smallest things can hold immense value and drive incredible human endeavors. And their legacy lives on, flavoring our food and reminding us of a time when a pinch of spice was a king's fortune. What do you think is the most surprising thing about the true cost of ancient spices? Let me know in the comments below. If you're fascinated by the hidden stories behind our history, make sure to hit that like button, subscribe to Ancient Ways Discovered, and ring that notification bell so you don't miss our next adventure into the past.